What if I told you that somewhere in this world, in a dusty drawer, inside an old coat pocket, or tucked inside a forgotten jewelry box, there's a single stone no bigger than your thumbnail that is worth more than a luxury penthouse in New York City? What if I told you that most people who have ever held this stone had absolutely no idea what they were holding? And what if the stone I'm talking about is not a diamond, not a ruby, not an emerald, but something so rare, so breathtakingly valuable, and so magnificently hidden from mainstream knowledge that only a handful of humans on this entire planet have ever owned one? Stay with me, because in the next 20 minutes, your understanding of wealth, of gemstones, and of what real rarity looks like is about to be completely and forever transformed. My name is your guide today, and together we are diving deep into the extraordinary million-dollar world of muscovite, the gemstone that makes a diamond look common. The year was 1967, a remote, sun-scorched corner of South Australia called the Musgrave Range. Geologists working in conditions that most people would find unbearable, extreme heat, isolation, terrain so rugged it barely had a name, stumbled upon a mineral unlike anything they had ever classified. They named it muscovite, after the very range of mountains that had concealed it from humanity for millions of years. For the next several decades, this stone remained a scientific curiosity, a mineralogical footnote, something only academics and obsessive collectors whispered about. Then something extraordinary happened. The world woke up. Collectors began hunting it. Auction houses began listing it. And the prices? They did not just rise. They exploded. Today, a single-faceted muscovite gem of gem quality can command prices between $200,000 and well over $3 million per carat. Carat. That is not a typo. That is not hype. That is the verified, documented, current reality of the most valuable mineral species on the face of this earth, and most people have never even heard its name. Muscovite belongs to the tophyte mineral group, a family of beryllium, magnesium, aluminum oxides, so complex in their formation that they require an almost impossible combination of geological pressure, temperature, and chemical conditions to crystallize. Think of it this way. The Earth essentially needs to be in a perfect once-in-a-million-years mood just to create a single crystal of this mineral. That is not poetic exaggeration. That is geological fact that in its natural raw form. Muscovite appears in colors ranging from a deep olive green to a grayish violet to a rich, almost otherworldly purple gray that seems to shift depending on how the light strikes it. When expertly cut and faceted by a master gem cutter, it produces a brilliance that rivals the finest sapphires, yet with a depth of color and a pleochroic quality, meaning it shows different colors from different viewing angles. That makes it completely unique in the entire world of gemstones. Nothing else looks like a muscovite under perfect light. Absolutely nothing. And here is the detail that changes everything. Fewer than 100 faceted muscovite gemstones of confirmed quality are believed to exist in the entire world today. 100 on a planet of 8 billion people. You are more likely to encounter a wild snow leopard on a city street than you are to hold a faceted muscovite in your lifetime, unless you know exactly what you are looking for and exactly where to look. Let us talk about money. Real money. The kind that transforms not just bank accounts, but entire family legacies. In the world of ultra-rare gemstones, value is driven by three forces: rarity, beauty, and demand. Muscovite scores at the absolute pinnacle of all three simultaneously, and that is precisely why it commands the prices it does in today's luxury gem market. Consider this. A 1-carat diamond from a premium retailer will set you back somewhere between $5,000 and $25,000, depending on its grade. Impressive, certainly, but a 1-carat muscovite of comparable quality? We're talking figures that begin at $200,000 and rise steeply from there, depending on color saturation, clarity, and provenance. The finest known specimens have traded hands between serious collectors and elite gemological auction houses for figures exceeding $3 million for a single stone at Christie's and Sotheby's, the two most prestigious auction houses on the planet, have documented verified sales of muscovite that place it consistently among the top 3 most expensive gem species per carat in recorded history. Above alexandrite, above Paraiba tourmaline, often above pink diamond. This is not speculation. This is the market speaking with absolute clarity year after year, with consistently upward trending valuations as global awareness of this stone grows and the supply, fixed by nature itself, never, ever increases. While muscovite was first discovered in Australia, subsequent decades of geological exploration have revealed a small number of additional source locations across the globe. Greenland has produced specimens. Antarctica, yes, Antarctica, has yielded trace occurrences. Tanzania, specifically the Umber River Valley, has emerged as perhaps the most commercially significant modern source for collector-grade material, though even there, production is measured in carats per year, not kilograms. Myanmar has also contributed specimens to the global collector market. But in every case, what defines muscovite supply is the same word repeated over and over again: scarce. Critically, irreversibly, magnificently scarce. This scarcity is not manufactured like diamonds was for decades by controlling distribution channels. Muscovite's rarity is purely natural, a function of the improbable geological conditions required for its formation. No company controls its supply. No cartel manipulates its availability. The Earth simply does not make very much of it, and what the Earth has made over millions of years, humanity is slowly and carefully extracting, one precious gram at a time. When it is gone, it is gone. And that irreversibility is precisely what makes its value not just stable, but structurally destined to rise. Now we arrive at the question every serious person watching this needs to understand completely. How do you know if what you have, or what you are considering acquiring, is genuinely muscovite? This is not a question to be casual about. The gemological identification of muscovite requires precision, professional equipment, and expertise, because this mineral has characteristics that overlap superficially with several other species, most notably tophet itself, with which it shares close structural kinship. A certified gemologist, using a combination of refractive index measurement, specific gravity testing, and spectroscopic analysis, specifically Raman spectroscopy, is the only reliable pathway to confirmed identification. The refractive index of muscovite falls between 1.719 and 1.727, with a birefringence of approximately 0.008 to 0.012. Its specific gravity sits around 3.68. These numbers mean nothing to the casual observer, but everything to a trained gemologist. And when a laboratory of the standing of the Gemological Institute of America, the GIA, or the Swiss Gemological Institute, SCF, issues a certificate confirming a stone as muscovite, that certificate is worth nearly as much as the stone itself in terms of market confidence. This is the critical point that serious collectors and sellers must internalize. A muscovite without certification is an unverified claim. A muscovite with full GIA or SCF certification is a documented, globally tradable million-dollar asset. The process of obtaining that certification costs a fraction of a percent of the stone's value. It is the single most important step anyone holding a potential muscovite specimen must take. And it must be done before any sale is contemplated, before any valuation is discussed, and before any conversation with buyers is initiated. The market for ultra-rare gemstones like muscovite is populated by a class of buyer that operates entirely differently from the person who walks into a jewelry store on the high street. We are talking about ultra-high net worth individuals, the top 0.001% of global wealth holders, who view exceptional gemstones not as ornamentation, but as portable, borderless, inflation-resistant stores of concentrated value. In an era of volatile stock markets, currency uncertainty, and geopolitical disruption, a muscovite gemstone with full certification represents something profoundly appealing to serious wealth holders. An asset that is physically small, globally recognizable among expert circles, entirely non-digital in its existence, and underpinned by a scarcity that no human intervention can alter. These buyers operate through specialist dealers, through dedicated gemstone auction platforms, and increasingly, through direct, private treaty sales arranged by elite brokers who connect certified stones with pre-qualified buyers. Names like Bonham's, Christie's Magnificent Jewels auctions, and specialist gem trading platforms serve as the primary venues. But for those with the right connections and the right stone, private sales, concluded away from public auction records entirely, often achieve prices that exceed even public auction results. This is the tier at which Musgravite truly lives, and it is a tier that rewards preparation, patience, and absolute professionalism in every aspect of how the stone is presented, certified, and offered to the market. Let us step back from the mechanics of certification and market access for a moment and talk about what this actually means for a human life. Because that is really what this entire conversation is about. Not rocks, not laboratory certificates, not auction estimates. It is about what happens to a person, to a family, when extraordinary wealth meets extraordinary preparation.